Welcome. Let's talk about effective career transitioning. So, are you in a situation right now where you are trying to make a transfer from one industry to another, or from one team to another, or you're basically just changing jobs and you feel a bit anxious about the whole process and you're looking for someone to talk you through that process? This video is going to get you some of the answers that you are desperately in need of. So let's just get right into it. Now, the first thing that you may see is an identity crisis of some sorts. For some people, it is usually mild, but for some other people, it can be quite dramatic just because they feel a bit of they feel that connection between them and their former sort of place of work, what they used to do. So there is this attachment that they do have. So in the situation where they have now found themselves changing jobs, changing their careers, or changing their industry, or basically joining a new team, they feel some sort of detachment from what they are used to that usually would have defined them. And that is why, as personally, I do not like over attachment to anything, such that by the time you are going through a detachment process, it is not as painful. But if you're making a career transition, you will see that there will be some sort of earthquake from an identity perspective. So having that at the back of your mind, what are the things you need to start thinking about right now? Number one, you are different from your career. Your career is only a piece, is only a slice of the pie. So do not feel like what you're doing right now is what you will continue to do forever and ever. So have that at the back of your mind and start preparing, especially if you know that you're going to make a transition very soon. Because if you feel like you are who you are because of where you work, or you are who you are because of the industry you're in, then it will be so much painful trying to go through that detachment process. So from now, start seeing yourself as being enough, irrespective of the situation. And the way I see it is this: you're already enough, right? You're already qualified for the work you do. So even if you're moving from one industry to another, that should not change anything. That should not change anything, because you in this same environment, if they uproot you and put you in another environment, you should still be able to bring up and tone in the same level of performance, if not more, as long as you understand the new environment and you're able to adapt as quickly as you can. So you may begin to experience some identity issues when you make that transition. Okay, so prepare for that situation, and it's a thing of the mind. It's something that you can control, all controllable stuff here. So start preparing your mind to know that you may feel a bit in some sort of way just because you are now doing something different. The next thing you may see is that there will be that thought in your mind that your skills that you have right now is not enough. Now, the skills that you're gathering right now at work are all transferable skills. They are transferable skills. They're skills that you're using them right now. You can use them anywhere else you find yourself, especially those soft skills. Those skills around leadership, those skills around being able to work with people, those skills around being agile, those skills around your ability to communicate, your ability to persuade others to act, your ability to resolve issues as they arise. Those are transferable skills. But you will see yourself telling yourself that, oh, maybe I don't have the right skills to be able to navigate this new environment. That is so far from the truth. So having that at the back of your mind, is still the same workplace. You just need to understand the dynamics of the new environment, and you need to understand the technical changes that you will need to bring yourself up to speed on. Once you have that understanding, all other skills will come in handy to play to help you navigate through. So report writing, communication, presentation, public speaking, ability to resolve problems on the go, ability to work with other people, ability to delegate. all of those things, you will still need them in the new environment. So if you were moving radically from, say, you were in sales before, you're going into finance, for instance, obviously the technical aspects will be something you need to brush yourself up on, but the other soft skills, the other things you would typically need, you will still need them, right? So all of those skills are transferable into this new phase, into this new organization. So do not think that you're starting from ground zero, because you are not. Okay, the next thing you may see is you will see a nosedive in your networking, especially if you are so big on networking. Everybody should be big on networking. Now, the contacts you used to have, you start seeing that they may not be as applicable anymore for the current situation that you're in. So, for instance, you used to know people in a particular industry that used to provide you support for ABCDE. Now, in this new industry that you're in, or on this new job, you may not need them as much, and as such, they can easily dissipate, and you may not get to use them or reach out to them as often as you would like to, and you may start seeing or having the sense that you're losing friends and you're losing contacts and all of that. Look, this is what I'm going to say to you. The same way you were able to make those contacts, build that network, is the same way you should continue to build new contacts now in the new place that you've just recently found yourself. So think about where you are right now and say, okay, if I could build contacts where I was before and build these beautiful network, I can do the same. Okay, another thing I'll say to you is, because you have left a particular industry does not mean that you will not still find good use for them in the nearest future. So don't feel like you don't need to talk to them anymore, or they don't matter anymore. Please make sure that you're reaching out from time to time. You're joining communities that still align you with others from where probably you used to work before. I am in communities of places that I've worked in before, or different things, or a community I've been part of before. I'm not part of them as such. I've not just uprooted myself and just taken myself out of the old situation, because I know that very soon you'll come full circle, you will need people and all of that. So don't feel like your network that you used to have, you don't need to connect with them anymore. But I want you to think about making sure that you are able to build a new network, or add to your network from your new environment, and the skill that you had that helped you build the old network will also help you in building new more meaningful network. Okay, another thing that you will realize is you may begin to lose motivation as you change jobs, change your industry, make that transition, even change location. You will see yourself losing motivation, because it's looking like you're starting from ground up. Maybe you used to be the office high flyer and used to be the star, you knew where everything is, but in this new environment, it looks like you are the learner. In that initial couple of months, even up to a year, depending on how technical and highly pressured the environment is, you may see yourself finding your feet for a very long time. But I don't want you to think about it that way. I want you to think about it that you are basically building yourself into this fuller, bigger, more sort of well-rounded professional. That is what you're building yourself into. So having that back of your mind, do not feel demotivated. Those times will come when the new people around you will not really believe in you, because you're coming from a new place, and they will think that, oh, you don't know what is obtainable here, and as such you can't really deliver. So they will give you that vibes of, we don't think you can do it. As long as you do not join them in giving yourself that vibe, I think you're going to go through that process, and you're going to come out, and you're going to be fine. Okay, now you're also going to see some sort of work-life imbalance or disintegration in this transition phase, because you're trying to understand what's going on in this new place. You're trying to understand the people, you're trying to understand how they work, you're trying to understand the industry as a whole. So the things you used to have, you may not necessarily have them in place like that. There may be more flexibility, there may be less flexibility, it depends. So you will see some changes in how you approach work. I want you to have this very deepened ability to adapt, this agility. I want you to have it in your thoughts and in your action. You would definitely need it. So I need you to show that agility. It is important that you do show that agility. So you would see that your work-life balance isn't as great as it used to be, especially in the couple of months, especially because you're trying to learn new stuff, you're trying to prove to everyone around that you're capable and all of that. So don't worry, everything will normalize in no time. The next thing I'm going to say to you, especially if you're joining a new industry you know nothing about, is you need to study a lot more than the typical person there. And if you make that into a routine or an habit, your ability to multiply your speed will be greatly increased. So even those that you met, them may not be reading as such. So you need to start reading. Read everything you can pick up. Read all the reports that goes across your table. Read, watch videos, do courses on your new industry, and learn as much as possible, such that in a short period of time you can race past those with bigger advantages because they've been in that industry before you. Otherwise, I think a transition is a great way to show how easily you can adapt to new situations and circumstances, and I don't see why you cannot go through your transition, enjoy the process, and come out a bigger, better, well-rounded professional. Thank you very much for joining me in this video. Please make sure you subscribe to this channel and turn on post notifications so you can see every time I make a new I load up a new video. Thank you very much, and see you in the next one.